Cela fait près de 12 ans que les joueurs attendaient une suite à Diablo 2, un des jeux mythiques des années 2000. Et aujourd'hui, ça y est, l'attente de millions de joueurs est enfin récompensée.
Il y a au moins 1700 personnes, c'est énorme.
1770.
Et on est les 20e sur les 1700 environ, 20e, 30e, on est sur les premiers quoi, c'est sûr on passe en premier.
Vous êtes là depuis longtemps?
Depuis 1 heure.
Depuis les 16h, 16h30 à peu près, je pense. Ouais, voilà, 16h, ouais.
14h
8h.
13h. Oui, 8h.
Diablo 3, annoncé il y a 4 ans en France par Blizzard, sort enfin officiellement.
I don't know if I can really quantify when it began. I think there's a common misconception that Diablo 3 has been in development since Diablo 2 ended, and that's not really the case. You know, it's probably been more half that time. We didn't announce it until 4 years ago at the Worldwide Invitational. It was ongoing a bit before that, but you know, we've had other products we've been working on, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, but definitely the last 5-6 years we've been really fully focused on finishing this game.
6 ans, c'est un temps de développement extraordinaire pour un jeu vidéo. Les développeurs de Blizzard savaient qu'il ne fallait surtout pas décevoir les joueurs.
A lot of focus is on playing Diablo 1, playing Diablo 2, and really deconstructing those games and determining what are the things that work and what are the things that don't work. And we wanted to focus heavily on what works and avoid the things that don't work and learn the lessons from the past. I think the big thing for us is making sure that we create a new Diablo experience that offers new things to the player but doesn't stray away from those core elements that make it a Diablo game. So it's a balancing act. There's a lot of things that we would try and decide it doesn't work for the game. A lot of iteration, and we put a tremendous amount of pressure on ourselves to make sure that we stay true to this game.
Aujourd'hui, le mal est donc de retour. Diablo 3 propose le choix entre 5 classes de personnages. On retrouve certains favoris, mais d'autres sont toutes nouvelles.
We obviously have the Barbarian, very iconic. You know, it's the Barbarian from Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, so players are very familiar with that character. We have the Demon Hunter. The Demon Hunter relies on his ranged character, relying on crossbows and knives and gadgets. Very acrobatic character. We have the Wizard, very familiar class to a lot of people. You know, master of arcane energies. Typical, you know, glass cannon, but extremely powerful and able to combine different skills together to achieve, you know, beat overwhelming odds, obviously. We have the Monk, which is a melee class, but more finesse-oriented, more of a martial artist. And then we have the Witch Doctor, pet-oriented class, a lot of summoning abilities, a very unique class, actually. So really, we look at the different classes and try to provide a different experience for all the players out there. So regardless of whether you want to play a melee class or a ranged class, you will find something that you like.
Au niveau du gameplay, le système des capacités spéciales des classes a complètement changé.
Well, I can't even tell you how many versions of the skill system we've had. It's not so much about throwing things out, it's about trying different approaches until you find the one that works. And we have an extreme emphasis on iteration at Blizzard. And we don't just implement something and go, oh, it wasn't quite right, we're just going to live with it. If it's not right, we'll go back to the drawing board and we'll just...
We've made it so you have defensive, offensive, and passive skills, and they kind of set up for you as you build your character, and they build upon each other. And then for the characters that want to do like more hardcore characters, you can adjust those. You can opt out of kind of the system that's set up to help like the newer players, and you can switch them around in any way you want.
L'équipe de Blizzard a essayé de ne garder que les bons côtés des précédents Diablo. Certains aspects des anciens jeux étaient en effet loin de faire l'unanimité.
So boss fights, for example, if you remember the boss fight in Diablo 2, what was your strategy? Open a town portal, go put everything in your stash and fill every slot you could with potions. And then you jump through and you would just spam the potion until you ran out and jump back through and just keep doing that. So we wanted to avoid that experience, which is why you see health globes now and a lesser emphasis on potions. And this in turn gives us the ability to create multi-phase boss fights that require strategy rather than just spamming potions.
Le point fort des jeux Diablo a toujours été sa durée de vie, et cela grâce à leur système de génération aléatoire des donjons qui assure un gameplay toujours différent.
So for the exteriors, how we worked that was there's actually like a fixed edge to the map. But what we did is we cut out all these locations and added like different events to them. So one time you're playing through and there's a house there. The next time you're playing through, it's like a camp, or there's some kind of monster event there. And that's how we did the randomness on the exteriors. But the interiors are like, you know, we try to stick to that true Diablo spirit of as random as possible. And even a couple of the dungeons that are later in the game, we kind of went back to that feeling of some of the ones that we really liked in Diablo 2 and try to put those in. Yeah, it was definitely challenging to get all that stuff to line up, but it's a lot of fun to do.
La durée de vie sera encore allongée par les différents niveaux de difficulté. Dans cet épisode, les traditionnels modes normal, cauchemar et enfer sont rejoints par un quatrième mode encore plus difficile, le mode Armageddon.
It's very challenging. So I think like actually no one at the company has gotten through Inferno mode.
Yeah.
You know, it takes some work. I mean, it's not just to be like harder. We want the challenge to be different as well. Like so in Inferno mode, yeah, there's the monsters are harder in general, but they also have more affixes on them. So you know, things like electrocute, knockback. You know, they may have 4 or so of these affixes on them, where like in normal mode you get like, you know, 1 or 2 on them. It ramps up the challenge, and your gameplay is going to have to be different to. It's not just, oh, I just got to hit this guy more times or something like that. It's how do I approach these monsters and beat them in a more challenging way.
Pour ce 3e épisode de Diablo, Blizzard a créé la surprise avec l'annonce d'un hôtel des ventes intégré au titre qui met en jeu de l'argent réel.
We have 2 types of auction houses. We have a gold-based auction house with just the in-game currency, but then we have a real money auction house. So you can attach your PayPal account to your Battle.net account, and you can place up an item for sale, and if someone buys it, you can transfer the funds to your PayPal account, or you can use the money in the Blizzard store for other Blizzard products. The reasoning behind this is because we looked at Diablo 2, we looked at World of Warcraft, we looked at the fact that people want this. And had we not made an auction house, they still would have done this. They want to trade, they want to sell items. Looking at Diablo 2, you know, there were third parties who were providing these services, but it wasn't under our control, and it led to a lot of difficulty, people being scammed and ripped off, and it all sort of diminished the integrity of the game. It introduced an outside force, so to speak. So we looked at it and decided, you know, the community wants this anyway. If we don't do it, it's just going to be this all over again. So instead, we decided to build it ourselves and create a secure environment where people can trade safely.
Même si cet hôtel des ventes a créé la controverse, ce n'était pas cela qui occupait l'esprit des joueurs lors de la sortie.
Quelle classe est-ce que tu vas jouer en premier? Probablement barbare.
Moine.
Sorcier.
Barbare.
Démon Hunter.
Moine. Moine. Sorcier.
Chasseur de démons. Chasseur de démons. Moine.
Sorcière.
Barbare.
Leur attente était récompensée, ils allaient enfin pouvoir jouer à Diablo 3.